Okay, maybe now I'm ready. Welcome or welcome back to the SideQuest Kitchen. Today, we're going to be making a couple recipes from the Elder Scrolls official cookbook. So the first recipe is going to be sweet rolls. And when I read through the recipe, I did notice that there are a handful of things that are lactose, and with me finding out that I am lactose intolerant, I'll be making the original recipe with all of the lactose items. But then I also wanted to try and make a lactose-free version. And since I'm making it lactose-free, I also wanted to try and make it gluten-free. So it's going to be a task. So that's the first recipe. And the second recipe, because for whatever reason, I kind of just like to make something to drink alongside whatever food or baking item that I make, I chose Red Mountain flower tea. Now, this is dried hibiscus. It's like a hibiscus tea. It sounds pretty good. I've had hibiscus tea before, but this has some spices in it as well, and a few slices of like sliced ginger, fresh ginger. So we'll see how that turns out. But first, let's get into the original recipe for sweet rolls. Yeah, actually, the first time I tried this strawberry one, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, just because I'm so obsessed with the watermelon flavor, but it's actually really good. And I don't know if it's because I'm drinking them out of a glass, but all of the monsters that I've drank out of the glasses just taste better. I don't know. So, for Elder Scrolls sweet rolls, you will need to gather the following ingredients: 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted, 1 cup of warm whole milk, which I know I'm going off of the original recipe with the things like regular cream cheese, regular heavy cream. The one thing that I don't have is actual whole milk. So I'm going to be using macadamia nut milk. But one cup of warm whole milk, 2 tablespoons of honey, a pinch of salt, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. That's for the rolls. So with the all-purpose flour, I had a container that held a mixture of rye and all-purpose flour to feed my sourdough starter. So for the 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups. I almost messed up right here. I just realized 2 cups and 1 cup. I'm looking over here because I have on a whiteboard like a quick reference how much of 1 cup of things weigh. So 1 cup of all-purpose flour is 120 grams, which this flour in here is 120 grams. So this is only 1 cup. So good thing I caught that. However, okay, back to what I was talking about. I used the last of the rye and all-purpose flour mixture in this flour just to use it up so I didn't have to throw it away. There was only about 35 grams in it, so hopefully that's okay, and I didn't just doom this recipe. But I need more flour, so another 120 grams. Nice. Okay, so now we have 2 cups of flour. To make the rolls, preheat the oven to 350. So in a large bowl, combine the butter, warm milk, and honey, stirring until the honey has dissolved. So I need to warm the milk and melt the butter. So I didn't realize it would heat up that fast. I only put it in there for 1 minute, and I've heated up regular milk and had to use a longer time, like a little more than a minute, right? Well, I don't know if it's because it's macadamia nut milk or what, but it got super warm in that minute. I measured it at like 134, 135 or something. And so with this being a dough that uses yeast, I do know that having the liquid too warm could kill the yeast. So I'm just making sure that it's not too hot. And I was kind of like throwing it between the 2 measuring cups to try and cool it down, which it did. Okay, Yeah, and it's like 120 something right now. And knowing that we'll have to mix the other stuff in with it, it'll cool down by the time we have to add the yeast. So, okay, combine the butter, warm milk, and honey. Okay, so milk, butter, and honey, which is 2 tablespoons. Once again, I'm not gonna measure that. I just don't like measuring honey because it's so sticky, and I kind of have a general idea of what 1 tablespoon looks like. 1, 2. And mix it until the honey is dissolved. Then add the salt and yeast. See, that's kind of, I thought that was a no-no. I thought you weren't supposed to salt the yeast before it's had a chance to wake up and rise. We're gonna follow the recipe the way it's written. Once again, I'm not gonna measure that. So it says the yeast and a pinch of salt, followed by the egg and flour. Okay. And then the flour. And mix completely until you have a smooth batter. Ooh, smells yeasty. It's kind of thick. But until you have a smooth batter, and it's smooth. It's pretty good. Then it says spoon evenly into 4 5-inch miniature bundt pans. And with the bundt pans, I didn't specifically like try and Google or look up what 5-inch miniature bundt pans look like, but I did find these little mini, they're called buntlet pans. And like considering pictures that I've seen of the sweet rolls, like the size of these, I'm imagining them like being held. It seems like this is the size that it would be. But if you have the mini 5-inch bundt pan, then use those. But I'm going to use these because when I went looking for miniature bundt pans, these were the only ones that I found, and they were $40 each. So I need to use them and make them worth it. Okay, so with this, on the packaging, it did say, even though it does look and feel very like smooth, like it's a good product that would release whatever you're baking in it, PTSD from lemon cakes makes me want to prep the pan just in case. It did say to either grease and flour or use a cooking spray that has flour in it. But do not, it specifically said, do not use regular cooking spray in this. And that's what I used in the pan for the lemon cakes that got stuck. So maybe that was my problem. But since the lemon cake debacle, I found and bought this Pam baking spray that I haven't been able to use yet. So let's try it and see how it works out. I'm gonna do it over the sink. Oh! God, okay. I don't know. I mean, it's it comes out initially super like foamy, but then I don't know, it looks kind of like buttery. I don't know. You know how if anyone's ever painted anything that is oddly shaped? I am aircraft structural maintenance as my job in the military, so I also do like painting and stuff with aircraft and aircraft parts. So some of the things that we have to paint are irregular in shape, and this reminded me of that because if you can see, like the very tips right here are like heavy coated, because as I was trying to like make sure that I was getting all of like the surface area coated, it collected and like, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a link to memories of working. Anyway, okay, so oh oh no, I should have did that before. That splashed literally on my face. Because you're supposed to immediately put it in there so that it can rise, but it's already started rising. See this? I don't like this. having to, oh, you know what actually would be better? Using 2 spoons to fill it. It just says spoon evenly. It doesn't say how high to put the batter, so I don't know. And I don't think these are 5-inch. Like, I could distribute it or try to distribute it evenly between these, between 4 of these. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. You know what would have been better is if I put this in like a piping bag. Maybe it might be 4 of these because the amount that's left is dwindling. Maybe these are 5-inch. I keep forgetting. Maybe these are the 5-inch ones because it is kind of distributing evenly. I might have put too much in the first one because I didn't know how much I needed to put in it, but it's coming together. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to take any out, but because it's like evenly filled, a couple of them will just be a little tiny. So let me spread this around here. Okay, looks pretty good, I guess. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. So that's what they look like. And it says to allow to rise for 30 minutes only, just for, it says specifically, allow to rise for just 30 minutes. Then bake for 15 until the toothpick inserted comes out clean. So 30 minutes starts now. Okay. Yeah. So it's 8 minutes until the full 30 minutes. But these have risen substantially. As you can tell, that's the one that I overfilled because I was unsure of how much to fill them. But I'm gonna throw them in now. I just feel better throwing them in now. It says to bake for 15 minutes or until the toothpick comes out clean. So let's throw it in. Okay, now we'll cross our fingers and pray to the baking gods that it comes out fine. I'm worried that the one that I overfilled is going to be massive because, I mean, they're going to rise while they're baking, right? I feel like that could have, the amount that it's risen now and the amount that it's probably going to rise while baking, I feel like that would have been enough dough to fill 6 of those, which makes sense now because even though I filled 4 of them thinking that it was the right amount of batter to fill 4 of them, like I originally thought, I don't think these are 5-inch bundt pans. When it says 5-inch, in my mind I was thinking like this 5 inches, which this is obviously not. But with that being said, with it not being a 5-inch bundt pan, I probably should have filled all 6 of them. Well, now I know if I ever want to make it again. It came together really quick, actually, and really easy, so who knows, I might make it again. And I was doing dishes before this, before I started filming right now, but oh! Oh my God. Fuck. It still has 8.5 minutes. Oh, you need to see this. I'm sure you'll see it when it comes out anyway, but hold on. This is definitely not a 5-inch mini bundt loaf pan. So this is kind of a disaster. Oh no. Well, now you know, if you have these tiny little 6 mini buntlet pan, then you want to split it farther than 4. Yikes. Well, oh well. That's what we're here for. Okay. I mean, they smell good. I wonder. Oh, they'll come out right now. Okay, let's take them out so that they can start cooling. Come on. Come on. They'll definitely need to be cut down, especially that one. Oh boy. I mean, they look pretty good. They look good. And they smell really good, so. I mean, obviously, it doesn't have the icing on it yet, but it's okay. Right? Right? Okay, so these need to cool because they need to be completely cool before you put the icing on, or else it's just going to melt everywhere, as I've seen other people who have made sweet rolls do. But while it's cooling, we can make the gluten-free, lactose-free version. And so as far as the gluten and lactose-free version, I need to make 2 cups of gluten-free all-purpose flour blend. Let me go gather my ingredients and we'll be back. Okay, so there are a lot of ingredients now on the table. I wanted to put it together on camera to show you exactly how I make this gluten-free flour blend. So the recipe for the gluten-free sweet rolls that I'm going to be making is a gluten-free yeast cake. I looked up different bundt cake recipes that were gluten-free, but obviously the original recipe has yeast in it. So I looked up gluten-free yeast cakes, and this one is from foodeland.com. So it needs 500 grams of gluten-free bread flour. So the bread flour blend, gluten-free version, that I'm going to be using is from Bakerita, and you need potato starch. So there also is, hold on one second, potato flour. You want to use the potato starch, not the flour. You'll need potato starch, and it says, my notes here say that potato starch can be subbed with tapioca/arrowroot flour. I have all of them, and so I don't necessarily see my initial reaction to seeing something, like you can use this or that. Me having both of them, I want to use half of this and half of that. So half tapioca and half arrowroot. But I don't know how that's going to turn out. I guess we'll see. We can just try it. Because it says you can use either or. So I'm assuming that if you did half and half, it wouldn't matter. Then you'll need brown rice flour and sorghum flour. So let's measure all of these out. And prior to gathering all of these ingredients, I did not realize how much of this gluten-free flour blend this is gonna make. We'll have it for any other time we'll need it. Okay. 226 grams of potato starch. Hopefully I have enough. I have barely enough of the sorghum. Okay, so 226 of potato starch. 226 grams of tapioca/arrowroot. So I'm going to be using half and half. So tapioca, 226, 110, 13. 113. This one you got to be careful with because now that there's 2 ingredients in here and they're the same color, I don't want to have to scoop it out. Yeah, I don't want to mix the ingredients. Oh, perfect. And the arrowroot I've never used yet, so 113. Tapioca arrowroot, brown rice flour, 524. Why does it make so much? And lastly, 524 grams of sorghum flour. Also have not used this one yet. So it's almost all of this. This is 624 packaged, so almost all of this. Just like to be precise. Okay, and that's that. That is a lot of gluten-free bread flour mix. So let's mix this together. The thing with mixes, like bread mixes, gluten-free, I guess, because I don't know what other type of bread mix that isn't gluten-free that is a mixture of flours. The one thing about them is because it's a mixture and some of the things are obviously different consistencies, like they're finely ground, like starch is a different type of like finely ground consistency than like a flour would be. It's hard to keep it mixed properly, like thoroughly, unless you have like something that you can contain this entire combination in and like shake it, but I don't because I didn't realize how much of this flour it was gonna make. You know what I could do? I just so happen to have this piece of press and seal that I didn't want to throw away because I could still use it. What do you know? Maybe we can seal this and shake this in this container. Okay. That could have gone really bad, but I think that's pretty, it's coming out. I think it's pretty good considering how we had to shake it. Well, now back to the yeast cake recipe. We need 500 grams of this. This is a disaster, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. I was mostly waiting for it to cool so I could close it. It's still a little warm, but we'll close it just to be safe. It doesn't need to be in the front. Okay, 500 grams of gluten-free bread flour mix. That is 500 grams of that. Now I just need to find somewhere to store this. Then we need a half cup of sugar, and 1 cup of sugar is 198 grams. So I usually just round it up to 200, so I'm just going to use 100 since it's a half cup in the recipe. 100. Then we need 2 eggs, 2 heaped teaspoons of dry yeast. So we'll get the yeast. Okay, there's the 2 eggs. So 2 heaping, it says heaping teaspoons of dry yeast. So instead of, I'm just gonna, okay, eggs, and then 50 milliliters of oil. I'm gonna use neutral grapeseed oil, and then 400 milliliters of milk. So this recipe, I read through the recipe, and the steps are a little bit different than the steps in, obviously, the cookbook Here's recipe. This is literally throw everything in the bowl, put it in the pan, and bake it, which is obviously ideal. But with this being gluten-free, I do know that gluten-free baking is a little bit more tedious than like regular baking, and regular baking is already tedious as it is. So I was going to just follow the directions for the sweet rolls from the book with the ingredients from the gluten-free recipe, but I decided against that only because it's gluten-free and I didn't want to further mess it up just in case this application for this dough doesn't work in the pans, because specifically this is meant to be a cake, like you put it in a long like a wide cake pan and it bakes all in one. But you can bake cupcakes with batter that is used to make large cakes, so why couldn't you use this recipe for buntlet cakes? Okay, so what you'll need to do is mix the yeast with 2 tablespoons of the sugar. And so the 400 milliliters of milk, it says plus or minus 50. I don't know why, but well, because I didn't thoroughly read the directions. 400 milliliters of milk. I am using a mixture of cashew milk and almond milk only because I didn't have enough cashew milk to make it up to 400. So I just filled the rest of the way with almond milk. It's warmed and it says to, like most yeast including recipes, it says to mix this. Oh, also, okay, it says to mix this also with 4 tablespoons of the flour mixture, which is different, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like most yeasted recipes, you let the yeast and the warmed liquid with a little bit of some type of sweetener, sugar, rest and awaken the yeast. So we'll let that sit. It says for about 15 minutes, so now we wait. Okay, I'm anxious because I'm excited and I'm hopeful that this will work. This has puffed up and is very bubbly and foamy a lot. It has puffed up a lot. So it's been nearly 15 minutes, not exactly, but okay, so now what you do is now you just throw everything in there, mix it together, and then put it in the tray and bake it. Now add the rest of the sugar. Bubbly. Oh. Throwing the sugar in made it foam a lot more. But yeah, okay. Then we need to put in the 2 eggs. 2 eggs. The oil, I'm gonna mix all of the wet ingredients together first, just so that it's homogeneous. And then we'll add the rest of the flour and the salt. Pinch of salt and the rest of the flour. So in the directions, it does say, I didn't write it down. What did it say specifically? It said, I forget how it worded it. It said something along the lines of spread it out, which made me think of how I had to like spoon and like spread out this recipe's dough. So I'm hoping it might come together similarly. All right, there we go. Ow. Ooh. You ever hurt yourself so bad that it sends like tingles, like goosebumps all over your body? That's what I did. I hit the cuticle of my finger on the edge of that. That sucked. Okay, so let's mix this together, see how it comes together. So it's looser, but that doesn't necessarily determine how it's going to turn out. Okay, so instead of spooning it like I had to in the other one, we're going to use a cookie scoop. It's kind of like pancake batter, I guess. And just like with the book's recipe, I have no idea how much this is going to rise. So we're going to kind of go off of like a general baking, I guess, theory of 2/3 or 3/4 of the way filled and see how that goes. I don't know why I stand like that. I do this. Terrible for my back. It'll be a little tiny one. That's okay. Too many dishes. Okay, so I guess now we cross our fingers and hope for the best. So with this recipe, I don't remember what baking tin that it calls out for to use, but from the picture, it looks like it was just like a cake pan, right? It says to bake it for 30 to 40 minutes. It also said at 180, and I don't necessarily know how hot in Fahrenheit 180 is. I should probably look before it bakes too long. Yeah, let me look. Okay, well, I pulled them out a little bit early, like 5 minutes early maybe-ish, just because I don't know, the edges of it seemed like they were browning and I didn't want it to burn. So let's take them out of the tins and see what they look like. Well, this is what they look like. They're soft, they smell good. Okay, I don't think these are gonna come out. Just kidding, they did all of them. Oh my God. I'm actually speechless. What? So they do get frosting over the top at the end, obviously, when it cools down. But, and okay, and also I overfilled the pans with the first recipe. But these look so good. They look perfect. They look fake. It smells gluten-free. It smells, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't, hold on. Actually, these don't smell like anything. They used to smell, I don't know, sweet-ish, like sweet bread, which is strange because there's only a little bit of honey in it, right? We didn't put sugar in this one. But anyway, wow. The gluten-free one baked into the crevices so much crisper and like nicer. You can see all of the little indentions. But I mean, we'll see how they turn out side by side with the frosting. So with the frosting, okay, so I don't know if I read the frosting ingredients off yet because we weren't going to get to it until now. But for the frosting, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese softened, 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter softened, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. So I have the cream cheese and the butter softening right now. They won't be ready probably for a little bit still, just because I only remembered that they needed to be softened when I put this in the oven. I do have lactose-free alternatives for all of that, for the heavy cream and the butter and the cream cheese. I will say that I'm shocked. This is impressive. Hopefully it tastes good because visually this doesn't stand a chance against this. The cake in the book, let me see. The cake in the book, I feel like I'm a teacher presenting something to my class, has different indentions. Like, it's hard to explain. I can see a lot more definition indentions in this from the shape of the pan than this does here. Which obviously, when I make things, I try and replicate the photo as much as possible if they have a photo. But, I don't know. Okay, well, let's let these cool down and let the other ingredients come to room temperature, and we'll mix it all up together and do a side-by-side taste test. Okay, we're almost there. We are almost there. It is 2:10 and I started at 10. So, okay, I have 2 bowls to make the 2 different icings in. First, I'll show you. We looked at them side by side, but I chopped off the bottom of this one so that it sits flat. And I guess I can chop the bottom off this one too, just so that we can see the difference in like the crumb texture and see how they look comparatively. So honestly, it's not that big of a difference. I'm assuming it's probably because of the yeast. Both of them have pretty good crumb texture. Obviously the gluten-free one, not obviously, I don't know why I said obviously, because I don't know. It's not obvious, but the gluten-free one, you can't really tell. Maybe like that. But the gluten-free one is a little denser, is darker, and I don't know why. But anyway, so actually, since we have both the bottom pieces here, let's do a little taste test. It's pretty airy. I don't know how to explain it. It just tastes like a plain roll. Kind of like a plain biscuit, but not, I don't know what this texture would be comparative to. I will say, oh, we let it rise perfectly because pressing on it, it bounces back. That's exciting. Okay, so with the gluten-free version, okay, I will say this. I would not be unhappy if I had to eat gluten-free. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Like very good actually. It's exceeding my expectations. It's sweeter than this one just because this one only has like 2 tablespoons of honey, whereas this one, the gluten-free version, had the half cup of sugar in it. So, I mean, you take what you can get, right? But the texture, it's really good. Not crumbly, not gummy, and the flavor, it's really good. Wow. For the frosting, I have regular Philadelphia cream cheese. So we need 2 tablespoons of that. Then also we need 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. Okay, so knowing what 1 tablespoon of butter looks like, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. So knowing what that looks like, I'm gonna assume we'll go with that. When the rolls are finished baking, allow to cool for 5 minutes in the pan, then tip out into cooling rack. When they're completely cooled, oh wait, while the rolls bake, cream together the cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar. So we have powdered sugar here. We need 1/2 cup. I feel like this is gonna fall out of my hands and go everywhere. And we'll put a 1/2 cup over here also just because I have it in my hand. Oh, okay. Cream this together in a small bowl. Gradually add just enough heavy cream to get a smooth, thick icing that barely runs off a spoon. Why do I keep doing this with my hands? I realized that. Okay, I kind of hate the fact that no, not one, it's all inclusive. I hate the fact that I am lactose intolerant. However, I went ahead and bought an entire, what is this, pint? An entire pint of heavy cream to only use maybe 2 tablespoons of it for this recipe. So, beat this together. Okay, so it's come together crumbly, and we will add, I'm not gonna measure, I'm just gonna, it says gradually add just enough heavy cream to get a smooth, thick icing. And from previous failed experiences, by automatically assuming that just because it says 2 tablespoons in the ingredients doesn't necessarily mean that's all of it that's going in there. That's why you read the instructions that tells you just enough. So I'm only gonna do little by little until it comes together. That was probably a tablespoon. Oh. I don't know. Get a smooth, thick icing that barely runs off a spoon. So, it says that barely runs off a spoon. No, that's way too thick. So now, we're going to be using Green Valley lactose-free butter and cream cheese. And then I also found this Califia Farms heavy cream, like dairy-free version. So let's see. We've already got the powdered sugar in here. What? I'm just now reading this. I saw this cow. All I saw was lactose free, which is why I grabbed it. Then as I'm trying to open it, I saw this cow. It says real dairy. I was like, how is it real dairy if it's lactose free? And it says all milk contains lactose, the naturally occurring milk sugar. We add lactase enzyme to make it lactose free. Lactose breaks into 2 digestible sugars, glucose and galactose. Okay, well, we'll see. We need 1 tablespoon of this real dairy lactose-free butter. Okay, then we need this lactose-free cream cheese. 2 tablespoons of this, so sure. 1, 2. And I have rinsed this so that there's no cross-contamination. So, for whatever reason, between the different consistencies, for whatever reason, when I blended the cream cheese and the powdered sugar and the butter, this version was crumbly, like it was crumbly like you would rub butter into flour to create like a sandy texture. Then when I added the cream is when it came together like a frosting. But powdered sugar, butter, and cream cheese, dairy-free style, already created like a frosting. It's still thick, so I will use some of the dairy-free heavy cream. Oh, okay. What I was about to do next was read the, okay, that's what I thought, was read the ingredients, because dairy-free heavy whipping cream, in my mind, I automatically thought of like coconut, which water is the first ingredient, but coconut oil is the second. And when I opened it, it has a layer of, it has like a layer of the coconut oil, coconut cream, coconut fat. Maybe I should shake it some more. It says shake well before use. It got rid of kind of a lot of it, but I think I put a little too much. It's a little too runny, I think. Because if I were to put that on a spoon and it says barely runs off, that's too runny. We can add a little more. I was gonna say powdered sugar because it's a dry ingredient. It's already really sweet. And with the gluten-free version being sweeter than the regular version, we're just gonna leave it at that. Where's the button to release it? Is there a button to release it? I haven't used this in probably 5 years. Nope, you just pull it out. Okay, so we are, I think, ready to put it all together. We'll keep these on the respective sides, dairy, non-dairy, and let's, you know what? As far as putting it on the actual rolls, I think I'm gonna leave that till I take the photos, only because I already have pieces that I can taste over here that aren't gonna ruin the whole sweet roll itself. To taste them together, the icing and the cake, I would have to break it and ruin the sweet roll itself. So I'm actually not going to put them on these. I am going to use what's left of the pieces here. So gluten-free version, different spoons for different versions, dairy-free version, dairy-free and gluten-free. That's really good, really good. Okay, then regular. So I'm not saying this because I'm lactose intolerant and I would, for the benefit of my body, would have to eat the lactose-free version. I'm not necessarily needing to eat gluten-free so I don't have to eat the gluten-free version, but the gluten-free cake with the lactose-free frosting tastes better than the regular together, to me. But this also has a lot more sugar in it than this does. It also, you know, could be that this is coconut cream, right? Coconut. So both of these, the what is it called? Green Valley. It is like both of them have cultured cream in them. So it is dairy. They just put the, what is it called? The lactase. They just put the lactase enzyme in it so that people who are lactose intolerant can eat it. Whatever combination of ingredients and flavors that bring together this cake and this frosting, this is probably like 5.5 and 6. Not saying that it's bad, but this is like an 8, like an 8, 8.5. If you need to eat gluten-free, if you are gluten intolerant, try this cake recipe. I don't know how it's going to turn out in like a flat large cake. I would assume just as good, maybe better, because that's what it's intended for. But this in the little buntlet pans, it's really good. This is really good. So yeah,